They were fearless men. You know, people have said to me, well, they couldn't have got away with what they did then today, couldn't they? Their name, their sheer reputation, it got that far. And of course, it didn't do us any harm to be around it. Any knife is bad, any knife is bad. But like Reggie was in a frenzy that night. The easy part of it, I suppose, was the murder. And when Kray turned to me and he was smoking a cigarette, he struck on the floor, stamped on it, and here I go, trying to be the first man to get a 40-year recommendation. I always found it a bit more relaxing when Reggie was on his own and Ronnie weren't there. Because there was then liable to have a row, and you didn't get involved in their rows. No one did. They were notorious for their rows amongst themselves, but no one said anything. No one interfered.
In all clubs you get an occasional drunk, you know, and sometimes they have to be slung out, and that's why there's doormen and that, but I suppose it's like clubland all over the world, really. It's just the same as... I don't suppose it can be that bad, or people won't go to them, really, would they?
I don't like that word gangster, none of us do. It's too flashy a word. The chaps is more the word we use, the chaps. There was a group of men who got together regularly, and if there was a problem, we was all involved in it. That's what the firm meant. Freedom comes first for me now. Freedom, not the money, don't matter. You can enjoy it, but it don't matter. But you can't buy your freedom, which I learned. I learned that the hard way. Bombed out a couple of times, and we moved over to Houghton Street where the post office tower is now, and we got bombed out of there. I always remember when I was a kid walking on Tottenham Court Road where the big store is, what was it called now, the big furniture store there, Marbles or Maples, and I remember seeing a crater in the middle of the road with a bus just tilting over the edge of it. Well, the outside, the house that I was, the flat I was brought up, we moved here in 1949, me and my mum, dad, my brothers, and this is where I was brought up, Belford House, just on the Queensbridge Road, just off the Hackney Road, bordering Bethnal Green. But there's your house, and look at it today, it's an incredible thing. That brings back a lot of fond memories for me here now. Last time I came here, it was in that flat, as I came out of prison in 1981, my dad died. And the last meeting me and my brothers had together, as a photograph of it, was in this flat. And we've never been together ever since. How ironic that is. I just realised it. Unbelievable. Never realised it. Brings a tear to my eye, that does. Brings a tear to my eye. When I was a kid growing up in the East End, you sorted your problems out on a Saturday night. All the men went out for a drink in the pub. The women went out, and you had an argument or an upset with someone, you had a fight outside. That was entertainment for the kids. That's how it was. Hence you have so many well-known boxers and fights come out of the East End and South London and the poorer parts of them areas. Even the copper then, you know, they walk the beat, and if you did something, you got to kick up the arse, you know, and smack round a year-old. And I remember it was them and us type of thing, you know, families of brothers. And there were some tough kids. I don't think you got that calibre of man about today who was brought up like that. Many things have changed, obviously. When I was in my teens, me and my brother Jimmy, we had a little firm of us. And we used to go different dance halls, and you had what they call off the record now. They don't have it no more. And you got sued and booed, and you went out on a Saturday night, and you went out looking for a row. You know, it was all like neighbourhood things then. Well, I would have a row with them out at Clerkenwell, or have a row with them out of North London, and it stemmed from all that. But yeah, you know, I had caused my little bit of trouble here and there. The dockers, the Smithfield boys and all the market men, they're big men, Billingsgate, all the fish market, they're big men. I mean, they were strong, you know. Boxing was loved then. I mean, boxing was what it's all about. I mean, then days you could fill White City Stadium up, people want to see a fight and that. So I mean, yeah, we were brought up around a lot of boxing clubs then. Every kid, you know, like Envy Cooper and people like that, you know, they were our idols. So the fight game was always there. And we all boxed, every one of us, in one way or another. And but I thought it was good training. If you had a fight at school, the teacher would come along, give you a pair of gloves, put you in the hall and sort it out. The best man got up. But that's what it was about. And also there were large families then. If you notice throughout crime, it's all families of brothers. And that's important to remember that. Singly, you don't tend to make it that way. So I think your destiny is more or less set. You know, my brothers, me and Chris went down the criminal road. Nicky and Jimmy and Liam did to it, but never got really involved like we did. But we've always had that around us. That's, my brothers were known as fighting boys. Be one of us, you take the five of us, and that's how it was. I always liked the twins. That was always good to me. You see them in the east end, down Bethnal Green Road. Very loyal to Bethnal Green. Very loyal in their own area. If you'll notice some of their lives, they're very loyal to that, and I think I like that side of them. You know, we could have gone anywhere we wanted, but mostly in the East End. But no, their reputation well preceded them, and they'd take anyone on. I mean, and being young men, all of us, who didn't know about them, you went to local dance halls, everyone knew the Krays, you know, as fighting men. So it built up around that, but no, they made a big impression on me. When I left school, I went to work for £2 8s a week down the Atley Road, a bedding company. I went to Sleepy Valley Bedding Company for Weymouth Terrace. And I thought, this ain't for me. So within a couple of years, I was going getting jobs in the city and that, and nicking the loads. When I was a kid, I used to work mostly around here, get a job, van driver. Never no intention of delivering the goods. Nick the load, doing the dodgy light. I mean, them days, you could get away with it. There used to be an arcade there, an amusement arcade, and we used to go out there on a Saturday night. And I used to say, listen, you only give us a few quid, you know, get a bit of trouble in there, and you'd do anything. 10 or whatever, you know, and I started to do it in a cafe, Old Lou's, I remember it. And if we went in there about 6 or 7 handed, the punters wouldn't come in. Because we'd been there playing, so you get a fight to keep out of there, like the local dance halls. I remember the Barrys, they had one in North London and one down in Mare Street, and we used to go up there, didn't want us in there, and it said, look, it's a fiver was a fiver, and go and have a drink somewhere, you know what I mean? So it became a way of life, easy money, you know, young kids, I mean, an average wage then was about 5 or 6 quid, so I wasn't doing very bad, you know, and when it starts to get like that, it becomes a habit, you know. In actual fact, it was racketeering in a small way. Well, we were going to nick the wages out of there, and unbeknownst to us, he locked it in the safe. So we got hold of him, tried to get him to open it, and probably on a couple of IDs, and first of all they tried to pick me up, but the second time he fingered me, and there was a couple of others involved in it, but you take it on your chin, don't you? And I went down with it, and I got out on the appeal. So, but I was guilty, yeah. I've always been guilty. Don't like to admit that, but you've got to look back on it and say, well, I did that. We all moan about it and complain about it. That's part of prison life. Easy money without doing a lot to get it. You know, not great prizes, good little prizes, good lumps of money. Always there. Didn't have to do a lot for it. Becomes a way of life. crime becomes a way of life. And, you know, you get nicked, occupational hazard now and again. It doesn't deter you, because you come out and you do it again. So you go down that road, and while you can do it, ain't a problem. But you know, sooner or later, ain't gonna go on forever. It's hard to find out. Yeah, 18 months for thieving, conspiracy to rob and steal. We nicked a car. We didn't actually get the car away. And of course I got out on the appeal. And I got 18 months. And anyway, I went to the appeal courts and walked out of it. Got acquitted. Then in 1965 I got 3 years for conspiracy to rob. Prison life, it brutalises you. It brutalises you. Prison was different then to what it is now. They gave bread and water out. You know, I'm not saying prisons are soft, far be the case. Locking you up's bad enough, but prison was different then. You know, and I come out of it very anti-authority. You educate yourself in prison in a way that a lot of people wouldn't want to be educated, but if you got it, it's like going to college or university. You know, that's a nice way, but the colleges we went to and universities were totally different. They were schools for crime. So you start to graduate up through it all, and I came out the 18 months. I was free for about 2 years, and then I got nicked again. You know, probably could have been nicked many times before that, and got the 3 and came out of that. And I thought, well, I'm having no more of that, no more robberies and that. I want to go at the heavy game now. There's other ways of making a living, and that's when I started to use the background and the reputation of the underworld. This is Balance Road where the Krays lived. Obviously not here now, it's gone, the old house is gone now. But how many times I walked down here to this little house? You remember, it's all little terraced houses here then, nothing like it is now. And the old bridge there. Many times people said that the Krays are going to be attacked in Fort Balance. Little rumours went about, little bits to add to it all, and they're a load of rubbish, you know. The Krays are going to be shot from the railway arch up here, and but they're very loyal to this area. I mean, funny thing, just before they moved out here, they built this block of flats here, and so if you look at some of the film, the old footage of the Krays, you'll see this block of flats here. There's a little bit of film of Reggie polishing his car just there. You've got to remember this is of a weekend, it was very quiet. You walk around here, you smell the dinners being cooked. Just every time I look there, I keep think of that house being there. And also, when they got acquitted in the McGowan case in 1965, you see the 3 Kray brothers all shaking hands together, a very big picture. And that's where it's taken just there. And that was the acquittal when the Krays got acquitted. So there's quite a lot of history around the Krays around this side. That's what I'm talking about. It was inevitable that we were going to come together. My brother ran with another firm, and in the early 60s then, I mean, when the Krays were really getting their power, there wasn't anyone they didn't know. And I'm being logical about it. It was in our interest to be around them. Because as I said to you earlier on, we were running about the country. People were using their names unofficially, and they used to get the ump about it. I mean, in a way, the Krays got blamed for a lot of things they never did. You've got to understand that. And they got blamed for a lot of things they did do. But it gave us a licence to use their backup. That's what it did do. And you've got to take advantage of that situation. As long as you put them in the frame with you, you know. They were uncanny in a lot of ways. There's not a lot around they didn't know what was going on. They did. They had a very good system of finding out things, you know. And so it was in our interest. Like there was a lot of affiliation with all the boys throughout London. So it was bound to happen. I think they created a scene of fear, and that, I think that was it. They could do it, and you knew it. You felt their presence. You know, they weren't the best of conversationists. They weren't the best. They didn't have a lot of humour, you know, especially in the line they was in. But they gave out this aura.
In all clubs you get an occasional drunk, you know, and sometimes they have to be slung out, and that's why there's dormer and that, but I suppose it's nightclub land all over the world, really. It's just the same as, I don't suppose it can be that bad, as people won't go to them, really, would they?
People talk about protection money and all the rest of it. It was never, you know, it's not a word, not a nice word to use. It was under cost, in other words. But what it was put down is a pension. It was always put down, the nickname was a pension. So-and-so's getting a pension out of there, so leave it out. You know, that was a nickname for it. It's under cost. And so-and-so's getting the pension out of it. The twins get their pension or whatever. But this is all part of the Kray area, all along here. Very fond of this area. And extended on to, it bordered North London, Islington, and extend all the way out to Walthamstow, so it took about a pretty big area. But their name around here, I mean, that was like a law unto itself. And there could be as many as 200 places, different clubs in it. That's apart from the West End and other things they had going for them. They put their name to a place, and it's like a form of insurance. Only the difference with the Krays was this: they didn't have to be there, which is unusual in the criminal world. Their name was enough. It was a very feared name. Now today we do it; it's done different. You have doormen and bouncers and security, and to me it's a very dangerous job. Any man doing that job, but they didn't have to do that. Their name was enough. And that, I've never seen it since. It will never happen again. I saw where it could bring and where the respect it got, you know. And but I look back on it, and I regret that side of it. But yeah, I want the piece of it, yeah, because they were virtually untouchable. They tried to nick them, you know, and they got out of it, and it built up from there, and it started to build and build and build. And but they were what they were, and a lot of people admired them. You know, two kids out of the East End, not educated men, not the greatest of conversationalists, but look at what they did. No one refused the Krays. No one refused them. It wasn't in your interest to do it. People just didn't do that. You know, you weren't dealing with people you couldn't say no to. You know, I'm not talking Godfather here. What I'm saying is that if they went in, if they was invited in, and let's be fair about it, they didn't go around looking, I want to get taken down the microphone. It came their way as a matter of course. You know, if you were going to do a bit of business, let's put it this way: most clubs, pubs, casino, gambling dens, and all that are hooky anyway. They need the criminal element in there. You know, the criminals are good gamblers. They love a bet. The majority do. The image is how you look and how you dress, as I always do, with a suit on, a shirt and a tie. And that's the image of it all. Dress was a code. You dress to a code. You dress to impress. It's like being, I suppose, like being an actor, going out on the stage or whatever. What they see is what they get, and people want to be impressed. It was glamorous in a way, but in later life it was not to be so glamorous. You know, people only remember that side of it. I don't know the pain and heartache that come out of all this. You know, no, which I'll talk about. I can't call that a glamorous life. I find it very sad now. Look what it cost me, my parents, everything I ever had. I lost a marriage, my children, my mother and father died when I was in prison. So there's a glamour in that. But, you know, and you look back on it, I often wonder, would it have been any different? Could it have been different? I don't know, I'm not sure about that. I don't think so. I think it was, what happened was destiny anyway. lot of guns came in the country from the wars and that. And my mate, he worked for a gunsmith, and he'd make them up and bring them out. So we always had them round us. Anything you wanted to that extent, and so it wasn't unusual to have a gun. But the thing was being prepared to use them. That's the difference. And I think, yeah, we were prepared to use them. In for a pound, in for a penny. You know, it's not a game. It's not a childish game. But it's serious stuff I'm talking about. Some of the robbers at that time, some of the bank robbers and the train robbers and all them. You know, it started all come in then. But guns were readily available then. Yeah. See, some people would carry a gun with no intention of ever using it. But some of these men would be prepared to go to their lengths. They don't talk about it, they do it. You had a row, there were some men who'd take you out. Now today, life don't seem worth a penny. But then it was a more serious type of business. I mean, it got to that state of affairs. It got that way. And these were men who held a grudge. They held a grudge. So yes, you had to be prepared to use yourself, yeah. Very aloof man. You couldn't look at him in the face, didn't like that. You couldn't stare at him. Go into one, wasn't him, you know. Might get a right hand if you done that. You know, how can I put it with Ronnie? You knew instantly what you were dealing with. You met Ronnie Kray. As I said to you earlier on about an aura around him, he had that. And you knew you had to be careful what you said in front of him. Now you could say something to Ronnie one day, and the next day take big offence to it. I never had a bad word of them. Oddly enough, funny thing. Never had a bad word of them. Because I knew how to treat them. And that was the problem. A lot of people didn't know how to treat them. They'd come up to them, I'd never see anyone. I didn't like people touching them. Didn't like that. It was, but he never smiled a lot. Always had that look about him. Not deliberate. That was what I was staring down. Always immaculately. I'll picture Ronnie Kray. His glasses on. 3-piece suit. Which the match, the watch and chain. Right. And he's standing in the corner there, sipping a drink. Staring at the floor. Never really said a lot. Now Reggie was totally different. Reggie would mix in the company. You know, he was like chalk and cheese. I always found it a bit more relaxing when Reggie was on his own and Ronnie weren't there. Because there was then liable to have a row, and you didn't get involved in their rows. No one did. They were notorious for their rows amongst themselves, but no one said anything. No one interfered, and it would just die a death. But Ronnie was a man. Ronnie Kray was a man who's, if he said he'd do something, he'd do it. No question of that. They had their fingers in many pies, many pies. You never knew. They kept it all very close to their chests. That wasn't the one thing, but they had an habit of, like, Reggie would say to you, oh, he's a nice bloke, but he'd wait for someone to say something different, and then that's what he did. He didn't do, lovely man, isn't he, a nice bloke, and he'd wait for someone to say, yeah, but, and that was the doubt. That was the doubt. Once the doubt was sunk, you know, it was easy to go to the Krays and say to them, look, and I thought that was dangerous. People would go to curry favour with them, tell little tales to them, you know, which would get people in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. They were fearless men. You know, people have said to me, well, they couldn't have got away with what they did then today, couldn't they? They wouldn't have changed then. They wouldn't have changed then. I think the tragedy would have been if they'd have come out old men, that somebody might try to take them down. That would have been a liberty, because they couldn't do it in their prime. Now, a lot of people spoke about doing it, and no one did. No one did. So let's not take that away from what they really were. If I was to describe the twins, they were gangsters. I think the most dangerous period of them is between 66 and up to their arrest. They were well capable of doing anything. I think they've both gone through bad times in their lives, Reggie getting over his Francis dying, and Ronnie obviously needed treatment, and I think anyone who crossed them the wrong way then, and I'm not talking about a fight or a cutting, I think they'd have gone all the way with them. It got that bad. You felt it. You felt it. It sounded like it was a reckless part of their lives. Jack the Hat wasn't a bad man. He wasn't a grass. He wasn't anything like that. But as it was put, he was a fucking nuisance. And that's putting it bluntly. He took them on, he challenged them. And what I say there is this, that he was told to behave himself by the Krays. And I was there when they said it to him. He'd have a drink, Jack, and that was him, a happy-go-lucky man. But when it come to what they said was the murder, I don't think they knew they were going to do him that night. It happened by chance. It was an accident. I'd been out with the Krays that night, me and my brother, with two other friends of ours, and we met the Krays in their pub, the Carpenter's Arms. When we got nicked in 1968, this is where, one of the pubs we were using at that time, where it was theirs. And this is where we, on the night that this was Jack the Hat went off, this is where we met. Me and my brother, two others, and the Krays and that. We was all here that night. And then we left here and went on to the Regency Club, where we were supposed to have met Jack the Hat. And this is where I left the Krays that night, and the next time I saw him was in that flat. So that's also known for something else. This is where Ginger Marks was allegedly to be straight outside of it. Disappeared. So it's got reasons. Also, if you look down to my right, there's a church where the Kray all the funerals took place. Charlie, Reggie, Ronnie. If you can hear the background, the kids playing, as young kids, the Krays went to that school. A bit of local history in this one. I wonder one day if they'll never preserve this for prosperity. Let's just wipe it out, forget all about us. You can feel it, I can feel it, smell it. And you've got to remember, something happened here that night, in 1967. This has played a big part in my life, hasn't it? Yeah, this little street here. Yeah. It's rumoured to be the place where everything happened in gangland at that time. It's still the same, still the same. It started here and it ended here. A little street like this, incredible, isn't it? I already know St Matthew's Road. There's a bit of history for you. This is a Regency Club. After leaving the Carpenter's Arms on that night, where we came and me and my brother met Jack the Hat. Now, if you look at it, this is the entrance to it. It's very plush though, very posh. Always had a couple of bags on the doors. If you look to the left there, this would be the restaurant. Charlie's restaurant down there, very nice. To the left here, as you went in, there was a bar, the main bar of it. And the office, Barry Brothers' office, which is the end there. And that's where I was called up from downstairs here. I'm upstairs here. Tony Barry called me up, a rat. Took me upstairs here, walked in the office, and that's where Reggie Kray was supposed to have given the gun the knife. And then left here for the flat. And that's where it all took place. If the Krays had the up here, you would send that pub on the corner there. Not allowed in here. Which thank God you wasn't, because you wouldn't have got out. There's how many men in here, I've seen some of the Irishmen in England walk in these halls. Walk out with their chin broken, their nose broken. You know. So, I mean, it plays a very significant part in the Kray history. But this was it was different, it was very plush, well done out. A big hangout of the underworld and that. But it was a great meeting place, Opera Manor. You know, all dinner times, and the building's still there. I think it's haunted by it all, you know. There's a doorway, it's behind the bar. There's a doorway there behind the bar. And it was all soundproof, and that was our private drinking club. So if anybody got an hiding, a bad hiding, rather than take them out, upset the punters. I'm not being amused in there. They were taken out of here, thrown over the alleyway over there. If you were called in that pub there, you knew it wasn't on you. If you were called in there, and you went downstairs, remember what Richard Kray said that night. I was supposed to have said, who's down there? He said that he wanted to do him in front of people. So I said, give him a private. But this is where, any band when he got badly bashed, this is where it was done, taken over a prayer. Bring us some bad vibes here, bad vibes. Well, I didn't know anything was going to happen that night. No one did. My brother was convicted of a murder that he never did. Nothing to do, it was well known. It was doubtful whether I knew. I'd like to think I did, but it justified the sentence. But I can't say I did. And when we get round there, all hell breaks loose. Ronnie Kray never done nothing that night. I was in that room. I was there when they done him. And even then, he didn't try to sweat his spray and break through a window in fear. He would have a row with him. He was quite prepared to do that. And he hit him with a glass on to fuck off. That's exactly. If he had walked out of the room, I'm convinced that'd have been the end of it. But he came back, and that was a mistake. It was a brutal thing that happened. It got out of control. We'd all been drinking. I forgot to add that earlier. I remember we'd all been out that night boozing. And when events started to unfold, any knife is bad. Any knife is bad. But like Reggie was in a frenzy that night. Ronnie Kray said to me, fucking get rid of that tongue. Just like that. Don't even lie around. What do? You seem to be loyal. You've got to be loyal, yeah. You know. Other people ran out of that room that night. As I said, the easy part of it, I suppose, was the murder, was the killing of him. And I'm wrong to call that a murder. I don't like to call it, because I honestly don't believe it was a murder. It could have been, it was only the fact that the Krays denied it and said it never happened, that it became what it was. But had it been brought out in the right way, it would have been a manslaughter. But anyway, beside the point, get rid of it. Now what do you do with a body? So we started to clean up the flat, and there was a lot of mess in there, a hell of a lot of mess. We eventually get him into an eider down a candlewick. It was a yellow or pink candlewick bedspread. He was stabbed about 3 times, and he had a big wound in his neck. Got him into the eider down, rolled it over, got the hat, put there with him. We managed to get him up the stairs. It was like a little flight of about 12 steps going into the basement. We got him onto the landing, but unbeknown to me, I look up and there's 2 children looking over the banisters. Now they never saw nothing, because my intention was to burn the house down. That's what I was going to do. Just petrol it and burn it down. Because, you know, it's frightened of a train or whatever. That was the 2 kids stopped me doing that. And then it was about who was going to drive it away and what we were going to do with it. And we all started arguing. No, not arguing. My brother said, I'm not having it. Ronnie Bender wasn't going to do it. And in the end I said, fuck it, I'll do it. But you follow me up. Because I had my brother there. And he had something on him, just in case we got to stop. And we got something, because we had to cover ourselves on this, as I said to you. If I'll tell you what happened. I drove it, we got into the back seat, from going the boot. It was propped on the back seat. Now the offside light of the Zodiac, the headlight is out, not working. The keys I got out of his pocket. My brother pulled his car around with Ron, and we went down Amherst Road onto the Narrowway, along Clapton Pond there, onto the Narrowway. And we're talking about roughly about 1 in the morning, half till 1 in the morning, down Mare Street. I went across Commercial Road and headed for the Rod Drive Tunnel. And I go through the tunnel now. Ironically enough, coming the other way was a police car. Of course, he couldn't turn around, so I put my foot down and go out the other side of the tunnel and come round a roundabout, like there was a roundabout there then, with a church to the right. And I parked the car in there. I lost my brother and mum. I pulled away. I parked outside of the church. I walked back. I had the keys on me. I walked back and my brother and Ron picked me up by the entrance to the tunnel. And then we drove back. We dropped Ronnie Bender down at Hackney Road. And we go back to my father's place in Queen's Road. No, I don't think it was realised in a way what had happened. You know, you're doing this in a state of shock in a way. And unfortunately, I dropped it somewhere where it shouldn't have gone, which was to put Freddie Vaughan in the frame. Well, I never knew. I just wanted to get rid of it. I didn't want a body on my hands. As long as it was away from me, I was quite content with it. And unfortunately, it was left somewhere. And when Ronnie Kray said, "Oh, where'd you put it?" All hell broke loose. It's on Freddie Vaughan's plot. There's a man in bed with his wife. Doesn't even know what's going on. And wakes up in the morning, or allegedly a body's taken over there. Come on, that ain't on. That's not on with me. So, perhaps it would have been better off being found. Looking back on it now. Perhaps Fred couldn't answer it. It was nothing to do with him. It was nothing to do with him. It was just, the car was on out of petrol. It was an old Zodiac, the old two-tone, Mark II. One light wasn't working, and now I am driving a body along at 1 o'clock in the morning with two people minding me. And you talk about violence. How did I got stopped that night? Whoever stopped me was coming with him. That's how it had to be. I'm sorry I'm being blamed about it. I'm not proud to say that. But I was on the line here now. I'm in the thick of it, whether I like it or not. We're all implicated. Which Mr. Laird will agree with me. I remember standing here, and I threw the keys in there. And to my knowledge, they're still there to this day. That was the only link to me, and that had the events of that night. That was the only link. But this is where I threw it. Running around here as a kid with all, I mean, it was different then, and yet one of the biggest tragedies was having a few hundred yards from where I was brought up. So really, when you think of it, and I've never really put that together. Ironic, you know. I'm going to map this with prosperity. You know, people don't know about these things here, but that's what it was all about. You still hear that little bit today. Hard parts of their life. Night of our arrest, this is where we was. And we left here about 10:30, quarter to 11. Parked the cars and went to the Astor Club in the West End. And there he has them all now arresting us. But this is where that is under observation. And actually the last photograph of the Krays, in freedom, was taken in that pub. I think in the beginning they would have been happy with the Krays. And when they got the lot of us, it was a bonus. It was a bonus. To be honest with it all, they nicked me, they pulled me in twice. So first of all, they got it wrong. They put it to me that I was asked to do someone a favour. I drove a car away, didn't know what was in it. In other words, it was a hint, look, it wasn't your thing. You want to go against them, here's your chance. But I didn't bite on that, I weren't having that. They released me, they pulled me in again. Me and my young brother Nicky, they pulled Chris in, took us down to Tintagel House, questioned us, and he said, look, the next time we come, there's no going home. No going home. And they'd done a raid one morning, they nicked a lot of us. He took me to Tintagel House. When I get to Tintagel House, there's Cater, Frank Cater, Nipper Reed, and John DeRose there. And Mooney, Henry Mooney. This is the investigation. And he said to me, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. There's your opportunity to tell me what you know. And he asked me 5 questions. Where was I on such a night? When was the last time I saw Jack McVitie alive? Was I asked to take him somewhere was asked to drive a car somewhere, and a couple of others. And I went, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, right, you'll be taken away, you're going to be charged with murder. I always remember that day because they found us guilty on the Tuesday evening. And it was Melvin Stevenson, the judge, which I'll say no more about. I'd like to say something, but it's best I don't. They brought us back for sentencing the next morning. I always remember they was letting us go out two at a time to the toilet. And me and Ronnie Kray went to the toilet. And all I remember was a principal officer and two screws coming up and saying to him, Ronnie, you want him upstairs. That's exactly what they said. And Ronnie Kray turned to me and he was smoking a cigarette. He stood on the floor, stamped on it. And here I go, trying to be the first man to get a 40-year recommendation. And he marched up the stairs. And he went up. And about 10 minutes later he came down. And we was all waiting. We was all in one cell. They put us all together. And he came back in the cell. And he lit a fag up. He never said a word. And I think it was Charlie who said to him, what did you get? He went, only a 30. I said, no, nothing had happened. I was amazed. I was amazed. Ian Barry, I can clearly see Ian Barry, who walked in the beggars with Ronnie, and they said he put the bullets in the ceiling. He went like that. He standing there, his head went bang, in the back of the fence, like, only a 30. He said, so nothing happened. Then the next one up was Ian Barry, 20 minimum. Then they brought Reggie up, 30 minimum. Then my brother went up, and as Chris went up, he got a life of 15 minimum. He come down, he said to me, you're next, only 20 minimum for you. And I thought I was going to get. But they kept it in line. And then the last one was Roddy Bender. He got a 20 rec. Then they took Charlie up. They tried to laugh him and Fred off. It was like the judge turned into a frenzy. It's like he lost all control. He was getting a kick out of it. Because I've never seen someone die in this trial in all my life. I've never seen nothing like it. I'm a fighter. And I just feel a bit of injustice somewhere here. I didn't get a fair trial. They wanted them out of the way. By hook or by crook. And it was said to me, by hook or by crook, you're going. And they were getting off the coach in Wandsworth Prison that night. And you know what? It never really bothered me. I had things on my side, and I'll tell you how I viewed it. I was the youngest. That was a bonus to me in my eyes. There was other men at that time just getting the train robbers, getting big sentences like we got. So that took a little bit of the sting out of it. My brother's round the corner. And I don't think it sunk in for about 2 years. I don't think it really sank in. I really mean that. It just didn't. I've never moaned about it, never complained about it. All in years, I've never. It's just non-existent. It just doesn't. It's just something you get into. You get to live that way of life. After about 4 or 5 years, it don't mean nothing no more. You survive, and you start to survive it. But prison does a funny thing to you. It stains your soul. You never recover from it. Not them moments. You can come out of it, but once you go into over the 12-year mark, it affects your life. Even to this day, you look around where I live. I don't remember prison by, but I live a prisoner every day. It's what it makes you. You can't escape it. I still have prison habits. I know that. It's the way you carry yourself when you come out of it. But did it do any good? I think you rehabilitate yourself, if it's such a word. You certainly don't get it in prisons. You do yourself time. The whole idea is to keep you time. And as you get older, you slow down a bit. You can do what you like in them places, but they'll do you a time. You ain't getting out of there. And I came through it very hard. Nearly didn't. I came out. Things didn't work out with the marriage. It was over. I didn't know that. I came out to a life licence. I came out to this reputation of the underworld and all the rest of it. He stood loyal to what it was all about. And I think, in a funny way, people admired it. I don't think it was an admiration for the Krays. I think it was admiration for what I did. I'm going to be honest about it now. Because people would say to me, I wouldn't have done what you did. And I found that a bit freaky, mate. Because I did. But many people say, I couldn't have done that. I couldn't have done that. Did it? Look what you give up. But I don't think that bothered me in that way. It was just something that you lived your life that way, and that was it. You accepted it as part of the game. But it was to affect me. I lost my father. He died when I was in prison. You know, even for our prison lives, it was never easy because of who we all were. It means we being like a fucking animal, never have to live with me, and that's what makes a lot of the boys different. They live by them rules in there as well. It didn't change when we went to prison. It didn't change me. I still did the things I did. Because you have to survive it. A lot of people can't survive it. So I did exactly the same in there as what I did outside. Only you're in a different environment. When you're living in them places, you don't know what you're dealing with. You know, I've had some very good friends in prisons, but I wouldn't like them living next door to me. That's putting it nicely. But I mean, I can remember looking down the landing, and the lowest sentence was 25 years. You know, there's always someone worse off than you. But I think after a while you settle into a way. It's you and them. You know, they give a bit and they take a bit and we take a bit and try to get a bit more, and it's a game all the way through it. And the game plays itself out. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it's about mind games. But prison's like that. Prison is a mind game, and but yeah, the inmates, it's who you are in there. People don't respect. I mean, sex offenders and at the bottom of the rung. You don't get near them. They're protected and all the rest of it. And I must admit, I've had some of the worst around me, unfortunately. From Brady to Strafford, you name them. You know, and you become immune to a lot of pain that people would be shocked at you. I've seen men top themselves, cut themselves to bits, crack up, you know. So you're living, and you become very immune to it. I know I am. You know, nothing shocks me no more. You see tragedy around you all the time, but by the same hand, there's a lot of humour in them places. Some of the best comedians I've ever seen should be on the Palladium. I often answer the question, what the hell are they doing in the Nick? You get some painters, carpenters, comedians, you name it, but they're in prison, you know. So you've got the humorous side of it and the very downside of it. But at the end of the day, when you go behind that door, that's when it finds you out. You know, it's all about being a brave face, never showing emotion to other men. It's a weakness. You know, it's rules that you live by. You know, a man comes out jolly every day of the week. A lot of backstabbing goes on in them places. Like, you know, you can have a high rank moment and be down on the floor. The next, someone's always made to pull you down. It was all the worst moments, all the bad moments, a lot of it. But I made a humorous life out of it somewhere. I don't know how. I remember I got 12 months down a control unit for gross personal violence to a prisoner, assaults and all the rest of it. And you get to go in front of what they call a board of visitors. the visiting magistrates. A governor is only entitled to take so much, give you so much punishment. If the charge is deemed to be of such a serious nature, they give it to the board of visitors, where they can take big lumps of remission, or give you a lengthy spell down the block. And we were going in there and getting 12 months punishment, and I mean punishment. No bed, nothing. But how long can you keep a regime like that? You know, I started to thrive on it. I started to enjoy it. Fact, I ain't lying. I done it. I don't know how, but I learned to sleep 23 hours a day. It's amazing. It's amazing, the sense of survival. And you make a little life for yourself. I never come out of that control unit for 12 months. In the unit, seeing one other con who was down there with me. Never see no one. When they opened your door, you had 10 screws outside the door, ready to jump on you. You know. But how long can they keep that up? It has to break down. You know, as I said to you earlier on, we've all got to live together. And I remember going to that control unit Christmas Eve, 1972, when I've just been in front of the board of visitors and got some of the biggest punishment ever just out of prison. And I remember saying to him, yes, your rules now, but you'll live by mine. You're going to have to live with me here. You can't do no more to me. And they tried to slip a psychiatrist into me. They tried the chaplain, you know, and it starts to loosen itself. And I come out of that. I came out of it. I don't know how, but I did. You know, and but punishment, it's like a kangaroo court. You've got no chance of guilt before you go in there. Let's be fair about it. But you don't remember the bad side of it. If you asked me what I was doing in 1978 or 75, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. In other words, I blanked out my mind. I completely blanked out my mind. You can't live on prison. You can't live on your past like that. It's a part of it you don't want to know about. So let's be fair about this. We couldn't have been that successful or that glamorous to spend most of our life in the nick. Now, I'm not naive enough not to know that. So I've got to take that into account. So I see things a lot more different now than I did then. But I can't remember the bad side of it. I can't. I don't want it. My mind don't want to remember that. Perhaps it does it deliberately, you blank it out. Perhaps they should bottle some of those when we go, you know, for prosperity. And look at us at a later stage. Perhaps there's something to be said for that. But I think you become immune to punishment. Totally let down. It wasn't what I wanted. You know, when you're starting off, it's a blaze of glory, but it's not like that. I was very depressed. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was coming out to. In there, I had that security. I knew the people in there. I knew how to handle it. I lived by the clock, meal times and all that. You tend to live by, unbeknown, you're institutionalised. And I found it very difficult at first to handle. I think they expect that anyway. Because I had to go to, it was a set routine now when they release you. You went 6 months open prison, 6 months prison hostel to adjust you to the life outside. It's more or less a crash course in release. But what can they, you know, what does it do? Nothing. You know, you come out living in the past. You are living in the past. Even now I do that. You know, it's very hard to, you've missed a lot. There's a big gap here somewhere. And I can't fill it in. And it's just something I can't fill in. And that's why I find it difficult to talk about the downside of it. I've seen stabbings, I've seen murder in there. I've seen some bad violence in there. But, you know, some of it's best not spoke about. Some of it's best because other men still live there this day. You know, and probably go through the same thing. You know, it doesn't change that much. You know, I always swore when I come out I was never ever going to go back even to visit someone. And I broke that rule twice. But once, I went to visit Ronnie a few times in Broadmoor, which is an hospital, and I went to visit Reggie twice in Mason. And I didn't want to be in there. I thought, what am I doing here? What the hell am I doing here? I'd left it behind. I'd left all that behind. But to remember in the Pacific, I got to jump by the screws and all that, but I ain't complaining about it. It's part and parcel of what it's about. Perhaps I deserved it, perhaps I didn't. But I've seen some bad things done to men. There's no going back, and I know that. It's over. The legend's there, but it's over. And in a way, I'm glad. And people say to me about crime in general. I won't get involved in it again. I wish I had my time again. I wish I knew what I could have achieved. I won't gloat over it. We're not stars. Let's get this right from me off. None of us are stars. We were what we were. I wouldn't like to think the kids today would follow down our paths, because let's get it right here. The Krays can't be a role model. They all died in prison. And that's no role model. And I'll tell any kid, I will never ever tell a kid to do wrong. I couldn't do that. Stay out of trouble, you lot. Stay out of trouble. You're right. I can look in the mirror. Nobody can do that. But I can. There's a difference. And I get a lot of satisfaction out of it. I see people look at someone else sometimes and think, what makes them tick? What makes them tick? When I say don't find out, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
It's called Krays Crime Lords of London. We're a friendly moderated group with over 1,000 Kray and other celebrated gangster videos available for view. There's also thousands of images in the photos sections. The link for the group is in the YouTube description section. I hope we see you there soon.